here back with another video, and today I got what if Goku and Bulma were married part 2. I got part 2 ready, and I do hope you guys continue watching the series, and I do hope you enjoy. But without further ado, let's begin. So we continue from part 1. Goku's no good brother, Raditz, would appear. Of course, this man would be, let me say that again. Of course, this man is here to recruit Goku. But Goku, being Goku, would decline his offer. But Raditz doesn't take no for an answer. So he swiftly knees Goku in the stomach, winding him, and takes his son, Gohan, as hostage. Raditz would end up giving Goku two choices. Either kill 100 Earthlings, and he would spare the Earth and his son, or join him, which would be the easier option. But Goku is stubborn and declines that offer. Or actually doesn't decline the offer just yet, since Raditz would leave, but he would contemplate what to do. But, as we know, Piccolo would appear and team up with Goku to fight Raditz, like in canon. And their fight really would be the same. Nothing different would really happen here. So, pretty much being the same, Goku would get killed in the process of this fight, like canon, and would be sent to the other world, where Kami would take him to see King Yama. They would finally take him to King Yama, and Kami would ask permission to let Goku go through Snake Way so he can meet a certain person. That certain person being, King Kai. But Goku doesn't know this yet. So King Yama would be a bit reluctant because this way is very dangerous. Like, it's a very dangerous path. And when he was in his prime, it took him a long time, even for him, to make it. So he's a bit reluctant. But through a bit of convincing, he would still allow Goku to pass. Meanwhile, Bulma, who was worried sick, would use her ship that was, parked, basically, or in a capsule, and pop it out, and basically, she'd have her ship and fly off to their location. And about after 20 minutes or so, she would see a figure of Piccolo on the ground, along with Gohan and Goku. But she couldn't make it out clearly, so she doesn't know Goku's actually dead just yet. But as she would land the ship, she'd immediately rush out of it to see if they were alright. But as she approached Goku and Gohan, she became horrified at the sight of her dead husband laying limp on the ground. As she would see her son Gohan crying, basically on top of Goku, crying, saying, "Dad, why did you leave?" Since he's still very confused what just happened, because he kind of got himself knocked out. But yeah, he's crying, and so we move on to Bulma. As she saw the sight of this, she basically covered her face with both of her hands, and tears start erupting from her eyes, as she would drop to her knees and hug Goku's lifeless body as she would weep. As Piccolo, who literally couldn't care less, would allow her to do this because he knows she needs to mourn for her loss. But, after a good solid hour, Piccolo had enough of this and broke the tension with a cough as he would, "I'm sorry to break up your pity party, but I need us to head over to Lookout, and we need to bring the others with us." As Bulma couldn't even respond to this because she was absolutely broken. As, she totally forgot that Dragon Balls existed in this world because she was just that broken. Of course, she'll realize that later on, but we move. They'd finally arrive at the Lookout, and Piccolo would start explaining why he and all the Z fighters are here. as he explains the story to them, they'd be shocked, as they found out 2 more Saiyans will be arriving. And plus, they are way stronger than Raditz by a few couple folds. After finding out this news, they all decided to train over the next year. And in the next year, they would also revive Goku so he can help them win this fight. After hearing this, Bulma would actually remember the Dragon Balls, like when, they've all decided this, and one of the Z fighters, like Krillin, would say they'd bring back Goku using the Dragon Balls. And Bulma would remember Dragon Balls existed in her world. As she snaps out of her deep thought, she would comment and say, "Why don't we just bring him back now?" But Kami would intervene in the conversation as he, is back in the lookout. He would say that it's because he's training in the other world so he can get stronger. And he begs Bulma to allow him to stay there and just bear with it for a bit longer. And Bulma reluctantly agreed, but knows now that she has hope for her husband to return. But meanwhile, Goku has ran into a few obstacles. Mainly, he finally understands what King Yema meant about how this, Snake Way is like a never-ending road. Of course, since he's dead, he's not actually tired or anything like that. He is just, very impatient and doesn't want to run any longer. But yeah, we move. The next day, the others had begun their grueling training, while Piccolo trains Gohan out in the wilderness alone. Of course, he'd had to convince Bulma, and she would take a long time for her to agree to this. It would take a long time for her to agree to this because, she's actually a good mother. And so is Chi-Chi. In canon, she didn't agree. But, of course, Goku was the one to convince. Actually, no, Gohan was kidnapped. So, yeah, he didn't agree at all, I think. But, yeah. For this, Chi-Chi would actually be Bulma would actually be convinced by Piccolo. And, she allowed him to go. So Gohan now has permission to train. So Piccolo would take him out to the wilderness and place him in the mountains or the mountainous areas as he left them there all alone. As Gohan would begin to cry since he's still a little kid and he has no experience in the outdoors because he lives in the cities and is kind of a bit spoiled. And this would teach Gohan something in the future. But of course, Gohan would continue crying for hours. As Piccolo observed this and would basically sigh heavily, saying, "This kid is nothing like his father. He's weak and pitiful." As you know, he's just about to go pick up Gohan and take him back because he can't stand any more of this. But as he was about to, he paused as he observed Gohan further, as Gohan would stop his crying. As he would wipe his tears and basically have a determined look in his eyes. And basically start to remember a few things that he learned about the wilderness through books since he's very smart. As he would, basically do some survival stuff. Get main stuff for survival, of course. Since he's a Saiyan, most of these tasks wouldn't be so taxing. But yeah, he would have this determined look as Gohan would whisper to himself, "I'll make you proud, Dad. I'll become stronger." As he basically starts his training. And Piccolo would also have a smile saying, so he might have a bit of his dad's spirit after all. As, Piccolo would leave to do his own training, his meditation and all that, as all the other Z fighters have also begun. While Goku, on the other hand, is still running on Snake Way. this was a scenario, and I will be posting another video very soon. But with all that being said, I'll see you all in the next Twitter scenario. Peace.